This next section right here is actually the best, I think, because there's bumps, there's me going through a corner, and this is 40 miles an hour, it's 0.7 G, so I can go through that corner quite a bit faster, but you can see there's more control on that Bilstein 275 coilover, there's less body roll, there's more control. You know, people are saying that these are undersprung and too soft. I think it's really good for a street cornering car. Say it with me, for we walk by faith, not by sight. Hey guys, in today's episode we're going to be putting some coilover springs on the front of this Bullitt Mustang, 2-valve car, right, like a GT. Here's the thing, you've probably seen coilover conversions before. Why should you watch my video, right? Let me tell you why you should watch this. I'm not going to just put coilovers in and then go, oh wow, the car looks good lowered. I'm not going to put them in and go drive down the straight road and wiggle my steering wheel and say, oh wow, it handles great. No, I'm putting cameras on the car before. I'm going to take it out on some back roads, some bumpy roads that I know of. I'm going to go around a clover leaf loop at a certain set speed, right? And then I'm going to put the coilovers on and go do all that again with the cameras in the exact same spot. I'm not even going to move the cameras off the car. They're going to be in the same spot. We're going to compare that footage and you're going to actually see how the coilovers impact the car. Is it worth the money? I have no freaking clue, but we're going to give it a shot. Let's go. One little bit of information I want to add before jumping into this. If it's garbage, if it's too soft, if I wasted my money, I will be honest with you about that. I am not a person that is going to say, well, you know, I spent $2,000 on these parts. They're great. They're awesome because I spent money on it. No, if I messed up here, I'm going to tell you. So before I put the coilovers on, the front left was 25 7/8, right after 26 1/4, and then after it settled 26. So that front left, we're 1/8 of an inch from where we were. The front right, 26 1/4, up to 26 1/2, settled back down to 26 1/4. It basically sits the exact same as it did before I did all this, which is fine because obviously coilovers are adjustable. That's kind of crazy that it basically has the same stance when I set it at the Maximum Motorsports kind of recommended place. What I see with BC and field coilovers is a little bit higher spring rates typically. What I'm talking about here is a 275-pound front spring. Maximum Motorsports spec that for my car with a 2-valve motor. Now, I have seen some guys say 275-pound is undersprung and it's too soft. I've asked tons of questions and I don't know if people know what they're talking about or they've just thrown parts of their car, or, you know, that were suggested and they're like, oh, I don't like it or whatever. Or if they actually are really into it and really understanding the dynamics of the car. When you put coilovers on the front of one of these cars, I've explained this in another video too, but you take tension off of the ball joint, okay? Because where the factory coil sits, it actually pushes down on the control arm, which pulls against the ball joint from the spindle. So that creates a whole bunch of tension that actually makes friction and makes bumps feel stiffer and transfer through more. When you go to a coilover spring in these cars, now you're sitting on the ball joint, the weight is in a different place. That is supposed to make these cars ride a lot better, in the front especially. Are what these people feeling when they say their car's undersprung, are they actually just feeling that softer ride and it doesn't feel sporty because it's not rough and tumble and bouncing around everywhere? Or is the car actually soft? The only people I've been able to actually find information on that said it was too soft, the 275 was too soft, were 4-valve cars. And that makes a lot of sense because 4-valve cars have a higher center of gravity. The aluminum blocks on the Mach 1s and the iron blocks on the Cobras, but they still have the big heads up top and there's more weight up high.
that creates more body roll. Now I can actually feel that in this Bullitt versus my Mach 1 that's sitting out there. This car feels like it has less body roll through the same corner at the same speed.
Hey guys, cutting in from the editing desk. So I filmed a lot for this video, but it's not needed. So I have 2 runs before and after, 2 cameras on the car, camera inside pointing me, talking through it as I was driving, and I was going to cut that down and like, okay, here's the before section and here's the after section, and I was looking at it, I'm like, this is going to add 20-25 minutes to this video. That's not really needed. Okay, so let me tell you what I did. Obviously earlier in the video I said cameras in the same places on the car, right? I didn't just do that. Like, I looked at my speeds through the corners using the GoPro app and download the footage to the app and put the little speed sticker in there. I don't have that showing up on here, but I looked at the speed on my first run and then tried to match those speeds as close as possible on the second run, and as you'll be able to see, I did a really good job of it. But here's a kicker thing too, okay? I actually, in reviewing that first run footage, I noticed that the shadows were going to be very important in the video, because if I'm going around a corner and you can see where the shadow hits at a certain point in the corner on my tire from the fender, right? Because it overlaps a bit. If the shadow is in a different spot, it's going to look like more or less body roll, when it might not be more or less body roll. It might be less body roll, but it looks like more because there's more of a shadow at a different time of day. So I actually went out and filmed the second run at the exact same time as I did the first run. I started going into, I mounted my cameras at 1255, and then I got to the first set of corners at 102 in both runs. I did it as close as possible to the exact same, so it looks the same and you can actually really tell the differences. So all the footage that I had, I don't want to add 20-25 minutes to the video. We're going to go through, I'm going to do a voiceover on this footage up here that you can right here that you can see. And then you guys can back up the video and slow it down, fast forward, whatever you want to do, and be able to, look at the differences of all the stuff. But it is so stinking close. Like you can see right here, you can see like this sign and this sign. It's the same. But obviously the left is the H&R SS before, the right is the Maximum Motorsports 275. All right, let's get into it. This first little bit is me sitting in the car, and you can see the squat. And there's a little bit less squat with the stiffer spring, some bridge expansion joints. This next section right here is actually the best, I think, because there's bumps. There's me going through a corner, and this is 40 miles an hour. It's 0.7 G, so I can go through that corner quite a bit faster. But you can see there's more control on that Bilstein 275 coilover. There's less body roll. There's more control. People are saying that these are undersprung and too soft. I think it's really good for a street cornering car. Here we get some more bridge expansion joints. Again, just more control. Let's keep watching here. More bridge expansion joints. That one was a little off in timing. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, we're about to get off the interstate, and then I will hit some bumps on the road with the left tire. You can see a little bit of compression body roll here. And as you can see, when I hit the bumps right here, it's just way more controlled on the Bilstein shock with the stiff springs. Here we go over another bridge, so some expansion joints. Turning onto a road. Now I hit these this road has a ton of bumps, a ton. It's really rough. It needs to be repaved, and as you can see, there's just way more control. I'm trying to run the same line and hit the exact same bumps. Through the corner there, again, I'm going to say it, it's just that Bilstein is more controlled with that stiffer spring. The Coney STRT, I think, is a little bit under damped for the H&R SS spring. And I think it shows here because the compression is really quick on the left side on the before. Okay, here we're going to come up to a stop sign, and the footage is a little bit off right now, but it will line back up after the stop sign. I kind of kept this going here because after I kind of rolled through a little bit, the footage was almost perfectly lined up again. So here's a big compression bump right there. And as we go up this hill, there's some good bumps and a manhole cover. And then I go over a train track at the top of this little hill here. Coming up, there's the train track. No, that was the bump, sorry. Train track is still up here. There's a manhole cover. Here's the train track, sorry about that. And yeah, just way less compression, quick compression on that Bilstein and coilover setup. Here's some more body roll. I'm not going through this corner super fast. I come up here to a stop sign, and then I turn left,
and then there's some more really good bumps. I took this route because there's just a lot of bumps on this section of road. You know, I used to have to go down a couple of these roads to get to work every day, and my truck has new rattles in it because of them. Now, there's a big pothole. Here we go to a little corner where I take this one. It's a left, and it's off camber. I take it at about 40, and you can see body roll the opposite way, and it's really similar. And then we got compression body roll again, and you can just see on that Maximum Motorsports Bilstein side, it's less. We're going to come up here, we're going to take a couple corners, and then the last little bit of this is going to be on a road with just a bunch of sharp little bumps, okay? That's this last section, is just the sharp bumps. And what you'll notice is on the H&R SS side, there's just a lot of quick movement of the wheel and tire, and on the Maximum Motorsports Bilstein side, there's movement, but it's less. You can also tell it's not transferred through to the car because the camera is not really shaking with it, right? So here's a little corner and some good bumps in the middle of the corner, and it's just, you can see a little bit more camera shake on the Bilstein side of that one. Hey, how about that? Anyway, so yeah, here we go, bunch of little sharp bumps, and you can just see how much better that Bilstein side is handling it. Now, is this drastic improvement I'm seeing from the spring or the shock? It's definitely a stiffer spring, but it's mostly the shock doing it here, I think.
All right, guys, it's time to wrap this up. I definitely have thoughts, and I'm going to explain to you how other people and their thoughts are both right and wrong. The 275s, it is stiffer than the H&R Super Sport, okay? I went through that long sustained corner, that corner at the very first of the video. There's 40 mile an hour, sustained 0.7 G in that corner. I did that so the quickness or slowness of the valving of the damper wouldn't have an impact. The car had enough time to sit over onto the spring. We had less body roll. Not much less, but a little bit less body roll. So whereas the wheel rate calculates out to be 29% stiffer, it's not actually 29% stiffer. It's 2, 3, maybe 5% stiffer. It's not much, but it is stiffer than the H&R Super Sport. But here's the thing where people are right and wrong. They're a lot wrong, though. I've tried to promote this video in different pages on Facebook. Put up side-by-side picture, and here's what I'm doing, and there's less body roll. The 275s are actually surprisingly good, and all this stuff. And I have people telling me, they're way too soft. You not taking into account this and this and this. Like one guy told me I'm not taking into account the less bind than suspension, and it's actually a softer spring. While the picture clearly showed I've already taken them out for a drive and there's less body roll. But every single person I look at that tells me that the 275s suck, or I had 275s and I hated them, or blah, 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 all this crap about how they're way too soft. Their car is either 1.5 inches lower than mine or is set up for competition. Now, they're all set up for competition. It's looks competition or performance competition. So if you want your car super low, the 275s are gonna be too soft. Okay, that's fair. I'm not going super low, so that doesn't really impact me. If I'm setting my car up for hill climb, autocross, road course competition, it needs to be lower for center of gravity, and it's going to have a lot of body roll. I'm on 320 tread bore tires. If I was doing that type of stuff, I'd have a lot stickier tire. I'd have a lot more cornering forces. There would be a lot more body roll. But I'm not doing that, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm running a 320 tread bore tire with decent siping that, it's in the 50s and raining right now. I could take my car out for a drive and have fun. There's a lot of guys that you can't take your car out for a drive and have fun in this type of stuff because you're this high off the ground on super slick, grippy tires that only work when they're hot. It's not what I want to do. I want to take this thing out any temperature, anytime, obviously except for snow, right? If it's 45 degrees and raining, I want to take my car out and have fun. If it's 100 degrees and sunny, I want to take my car out and have fun. That's what I'm building this for. I'm building this car to be a cross-country, comfortable-ish. I mean, I got Corbeaus in there. They're supportive and they're not uncomfortable, but they're not cushy, right? I really think the 275 is a good spring for a 2-valve with a lower center of gravity street cornering car. Is it a compromise to overall performance? Sure, but I'm not going for overall performance. Why would I build my car to do stuff that makes it worse at the things that I want it to do? I wouldn't do that because that's dumb. And everyone does that. They take it way too far, and then it's like, oh, this right down the road. It's horrible. You don't want that. I don't. Maybe you do. Kill your back. Go for it. I don't care. The car's not going to be super low. It's going to have a little bit of compliance in the suspension. It's going to have an IRS. It's going to have rear coilovers. It's going to work well, and it's going to run through back mountain roads that are bumpy with frost heaves and off-camber corners and bridges, old bridges with weird old non-maintained expansion joints. And it's going to handle all that stuff really well. It's not going to kill my back. I'll be able to drive it for hours on end, have tons of fun, and it's going to be freaking great. So I'm actually really happy with the 275s. And if you think that's wrong, maybe you're right, because your car's for something different. But I think it's right because it's for what my car does. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. Subscribe if you liked it or not. I make a bunch of other videos about a bunch of different car stuff. Give it a like, subscribe, check out the merch store. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Okay, you guys are going to get a little bit of bonus footage here. So I had a comment on Facebook and said, hey, was your static ride height the same? Because it wouldn't really matter if it, what you're showing wouldn't matter if your ride height wasn't the exact same. And what a great point that is. So I went out and measured again. I measured previously. I put it at 25 7/8, but I wasn't 100% sure that it was the exact same. So I go out and I measure this morning, and it's a little off. It's about a 1/16 of an inch higher sitting now than it was before on the H&R SS springs. So does that throw everything that I just told you out the window? It doesn't. And this right here proves it. So this is the right side of the car, the footage that I originally wasn't going to use. However, the right side of the car measures the exact same ride height as previous. And you can look at this footage, back it up, go through it slow, whatever you want to do. Whenever there's compression, left corners, and I mainly just cut it down to the left corners. And obviously I'm not going super fast on all of this stuff, but you can see, especially right there in that corner I just went through, there is less body roll. So there's going to be people out there that say the 275s are softer than H&R SS. They're not. They're not much stiffer, but they are a little bit stiffer for sure.